Welcome back, twist heads, to the Twisted Lemon Party.
This is Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend's Friends, the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend recap podcast. This is... Ever felt like this, where two unaccredited Australians talk about Round the Twist?
You know, today was a big payoff in sense of lore and canon across a series, which is a bit deeper than I think it has any right being.
It was very well executed.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing was such a good payoff.
Which annoys me because some of the episodes we've gotten, like we go from the previous episode to this.
Yeah, it's the competence that highlights the incompetence. Like, if I just took a shit in your cupboard, you'd be upset. If like a cat does it, you're like, oh yeah, it's a cat. Like, you can't just suddenly deviate from your behavior. Same as if I walked in on my cat making breakfast, like I'd be terrified, really.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And like, because, what we have is a sudden, surprising, and really just world-shattering deviation from the established reality we've grown comfortable with,
Reality makes sense.
Do this, yeah.
There's rules that we follow.
I think Snapper wrote this episode, so I'm beginning to suspect maybe it's like that little Snapper quality that we're seeing drift into the
good old Esmond Storm.
Yeah, because like this episode is called "Smelly Feet," with obviously we can't go through a kids show without having some kind of fucking play on words or homonym or something for the title. So it's feet, F-E-A-T, as in an accomplishment or.
Now, I didn't write many notes, but I wrote very small hand notes. So I've wrote episode 7, Bronson looking way too happy in the thumbnail. Now, he does look, that thumbnail was distressing.
I don't like seeing that horrible little ginger smile.
And then we get the opening of the episode, which is just, you're confronted from get-go because it pans, it cuts open with Bronson in a cowboy outfit.
Yeah, which is not a good start for anything. So yeah, it's Bronson in a cowboy outfit. It's like, all right, this is the title sequence. It's like, okay, I can make peace with this. I can't.
No, because then it cuts to Tony, Peter, and Linda, and they've got binoculars.
But yeah,
for whatever reason.
I know, this is one of those things where it's like, what is that? What's that contributing to this?
What does it signify?
Yeah, you don't need to come up with a reason for there being a camera on Bronson.
No.
This is not a found footage children's television show. Although, fucking dibs on that idea. I'll add that to actually that'll work for my version of this. Shit's fucked. Because every kid records fucking everything these days. So that's easy. It'll all be completely found footage, and it will be terrifying and deeply disturbing on a great many number of levels.
It will be.
Yeah.
They're looking down binoculars at him. And then they kind of put their binoculars down, and the camera is looking at them side on, and they're kind of like in a row, but slightly jutting out.
Yeah,
it's a very well composed shot. And they drop binocular as it goes down the line, and then it cuts back to Bronson, who draws his guns. But the guns are not guns, Gabriel.
Nope.
No, they are feet guns.
As in F-E-E-T. Yeah, and not feet guns as in he's just holding feet like guns, which is already a bit weird. These are weirdly well done fake feet. Like the big toe on one of the ones that we could see had distinct dirt under the nail. They're weirdly good. They're strangely accurate.
They just
feet.
chopped off someone's feet.
Yeah, and then
sutured their
but
handles.
they've got those little toy kid cap gun fucking cowboy style cap gun fucking handles coming out of them. So they are feet guns.
Yeah,
but it's like
someone made that.
Yeah,
that was their job that week. Hey, prop department, yes,
feet guns. All right. I mean, I do want to be in a position where I'm somehow able to get a prop department to do things.
100%. And that's why I'm getting into directing and producing, because if I'm making a movie, I can demand whatever props I want.
I want to because this is why I want my own prank show, because the show would be a fake show, and the goal would be to see how long it would take before I made the prop department quit.
That would be very interesting.
The trick is to get them hanging on for the length of the series. Yeah. Which is going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I do...
But because you also can't just come in and just demand the worst shit ever. It's got to be like just like weird things like the feet gun.
It has
just,
to escalate.
You know,
like,
yeah, exactly.
And also, like, I feel like this is one of those situations where you will be able to say a lot of shit to a prop master and just they won't blink.
100%, yeah.
Because especially if you work for fucking, you know, a kid's show, it's like you will need to just make the weirdest fucking shit. So like, yeah, he was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. Like that, they made a giant fucking David Hasselhoff for like a fucking SpongeBob movie. You know, like someone had to do that. Someone had to walk to another human being. Okay, we need a giant David Hasselhoff that someone can, you know, is operated by propellers and someone can ride. It needs to look kind of realistic, but not too realistic. You know, like someone had to go out and do that. And most normal people would stop listening after giant David Hasselhoff. Like, I need you to make me... That
sounds like a giant hassle.
Yeah, I need you to make me a fucking giant... Fuck you, David Hasselhoff. That, like... Because my first thought is like, oh, how many fucking fleshlights am I going to have to get for this? And then, like, it's not even involving that, which somehow makes it worse. Like, when you're just trying to fuck something, it's like, all right, I understand this monstrous
It's a primal
request.
nature to it, but it's just... Anything else is just like, why do you need this? It's like in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the episode Mac and Charlie Die Part 2, and the gang's all reacting to them. And Frank, when they look in the window, he's made the Charlie doll. And it's just got like, it's just a mannequin that he's glued hair and like a beard to and dressing in Charlie's clothes. And he like, and going around doing a weird voice with it and sleeping with it and all these other things. And it's just,
it's the emotional vulnerability behind it.
Exactly. Because
like,
if he was just fucking it, you know, fair enough. Okay, I understand.
Everyone understands that. Yeah, if you're cuddling that thing, that's weird.
Yeah, well, you know, taking it to the strip club and talking in it, making it have its own voice, you know?
So, yeah, the foot guns were another thing. It's just like, wow, yeah, the ABC props department can, with very little fucking money, make convincing human feet, which the foot fetishists must love. So we get to the start, and it's Tony, for some reason, being really horny over a cake.
He is just whispering, Fay, Fay, at the cake, which is, as he's looking at the little Fay figurine on it.
The depiction of what I can own, like adult romantic love in this has not been flattering.
No.
You know, like, because Tony's the only vector we've got of this.
Although it is an interesting portrait into the inside of mental illness.
I mean, yeah. Or
because that father's not right. That dad ain't right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I don't know if it's hard. It can be hard to pick. Is it a mental illness or is it just a completely, what we'd qualify as a defective personality? Is this just a person I don't want to be around? Is the tough question we get to. Because Bronson's horny over the cake too, but he's horny over the chocolate. He's not just muttering his to-be wife's name as, like, cause again, it's like, I get that you're, you know, infatuated, you don't need to do that. Like, that's not a very good depiction of, like, you know.
It was a very good looking cake though.
That was a great fucking cake. I mean,
cake.
like,
it was the side of the hill with the lighthouse.
You know what the sad thing is? If Tony turned all of his artistic talent to just being like a cake dude, he'd probably be rich and have a reality show now.
Well, I mean, people must be buying his art. They're living, they're eating food.
I suppose, yeah. And we don't ever see if he's got some kind of weird side gig.
Yeah, because he's always at home.
Yeah, just
or sculpting,
doing art.
You know?
It might be like there might be like a life insurance payout from the dead wife.
True.
You know, there might just be something sitting in an account somewhere, just ticking over a little bit. You know,
or maybe he found some pirate gold.
Yeah, it could be ghost gold.
Moved into the lighthouse.
Yeah. So, like, the setup for this is, like, Bronson's, you know, this episode is a lot of long threads coming to a head. So, the Bronson and Fay thing is kind of coming to a head, and that's what this is like, the scene is Tony insisting that Bronson is there, that, you know, September the 4th, 5 fucking p.m., for Fay's birthday party. Because this is the hinge, you know. Fay can't marry Tony, and if, like, Bronson's against it, and if Bronson's not there, she'll feel like he's against it.
Like, that's the thing. Tony's such a nice guy, but he's also a dick in the most passive aggressive ways.
It's yeah.
Because he says straight up to Bronson, Fay won't marry me if you don't like her.
Which is a kind of
nuts
thing
he doesn't
to
say
to
it in a mean way. He says that in a very pleasant, you know, alluring way, which is just...
I do feel he thinks he's being a good parent by explaining to his child that his child matters, but he's also like... That's too much. You can't do that to an 8-year-old.
No, and you can't say it like that.
You're responsible for whether or not my marriage works.
Yeah, no. Poor, like that poor developing mind.
Not ready for that. No. Again, that's not a healthy depiction of anything.
Because, everyone's coming to the party. Gribbles is coming.
Gribbles invited himself.
He invited himself because he's going to campaign there. So, the kids are going to be there. They all want Bronson to be there.
Bronson's hell-bent that he's got something actually planned. And it sounds like it's a fucking bullshit excuse.
But he says, I've got big problems.
Yeah. And he says it's real. And then Pete and Linda are like, we'll go convince him to come to the party using argument and strategy. And then it cuts to their holding him down and tickling him.
Which is funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like being tickled is awful.
I'm not very ticklish. Like I have maybe one or two little areas that are tickle, and that's it. And it's like it's not like tickle and I'm laughing and shit.
If I'm in a state of laughter already and I'm like caught unawares,
once you're set off,
I can't stop, and that is the worst. Like I remember nearly peeing myself. I've never peed myself from being tickled. Peed myself in other ways, but
peed myself for fun. Peed myself to win an argument. I've never peed myself because I was being tickled. Yeah, I had a girlfriend like that who once that fucking thing was set off, I couldn't touch her for like a minute until just the tickles went away. Because you just brush against her a little bit wrong, that real gentle kind of where it's a very light touch on the hair. Just that. Then it's like, and then it was like, no, stop. And I'm like, all right. Because that's the funniest thing in the world to me. Like you can't tell me you're that ticklish without me going, I have a way of messing with you.
So we get Bronson explaining why that he hasn't washed his feet for 6 months. We get a big cut back to 6 months ago of Bronson exploring Turtle Island. I wonder what's going to be the plot point of Turtle Island.
Dragons.
I mean, a dragon's technically a type of turtle.
Also, I mean, they could be. Is there a dragon type that has like a shell?
King Koopa. He was supposed to be the dragon turtle.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure.
Rings a bell. I mean, it's hard to say because that early, particularly the real early Mario lore.
That's why all his army was Koopas, turtles.
I suppose, yeah, but I figured he was just like based on the Kappa or something. I figured he was just like, like Mario's Italian in quotes, but really they just mean something that's not of this earth.
Let's have a look.
Like there's some bizarre planet that just has like plush Italians running around, which is a horrifying thing to consider. Yeah, the entire he said he was just on Turtle Island, and it's just, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, it's got to be a peninsula because there's just kids there.
And Bronson does not look like the type to be able to
manually manage a boat.
Yeah.
And the bullies are on the island, and that just doesn't make sense. I don't see the bullies just going, hey, let's all three of us get together and just go sit on a beach on an island.
All right, so Bowser initially appears as Mario's opponent in 1985 video game Mario Bros. He was originally envisioned as an ox based on the Ox King from Toei Animation film Alakazam the Great. But Nintendo designer Takashi Tezuka remarked the character looked a lot more like a turtle than an ox, and two collaborated to define Bowser's appearance.
So he's an ox turtle.
Yeah, leading to the character become leader of the Turtle Lake Koopas.
All right. So that went in a direction neither of us were expecting.
Yeah.
They're probably, I mean, yeah, I could see some kind of dragon. There's probably something in fucking one of the goddamn Dark Souls games that I'm forgetting. They've had all kinds of fucking dragons. Because dragon fucking covers an awful lot these days. And then there's drakes. There's a lot. I just think that somewhere in that pile there's got to be some kind.
Because what is it? Is it turtle's a mammal, isn't it?
What? No, it's a reptile.
Oh, yeah. It lays eggs. Never mind. I don't know why I thought it.
It's not a monotreme, which is like the fucking weird shit in Australia.
So a dragon, I'd classify a dragon as a reptile.
I mean, yeah, some have been depicted as being hairy, but also there's weird things underwater that get hairy because moss grows on them and it looks like they have mustaches. And I think those are turtles as well.
Yeah, I know. I'd definitely define dragon because they lay eggs.
Yeah, no, dragons are reptilian.
Dragons are reptile, yeah.
I mean, there's some weird depictions of it, but, they're fucking made up. So it's not like we're talking about, like, oh, yeah, look at this, historical animal.
we'll have to go to Keltland and find some dragons. That's where they live, right?
Wales, I think now.
Yeah.
They're extinct everywhere but Wales.
So we got to go to Wales. Keep a classy, visit Wales. It's like, it's an awful travel documentary.
Just walk around and yell at them about their language. This is fucking stupid. Just speak English. Shut up.
So yeah, we get back to Bronson on the Turtle Island. He's practicing his stick foo. Is the only thing I can.
He's jumping around in like camo gear with a stick.
Yeah, and he comes across the bullies talking about a turtle called Old Faithful that rocks up at the same time on the same date every year to the clock, and they want to steal the turtle and the eggs, as Gribble says, to sell it to a zoo, get $200 for the turtle and $4 an egg.
I mean, that's an insanely low price for an endangered animal.
Also, what zoo is buying animals from a teenager?
I could imagine like one of those really shitty fucking, like, this is a pre-Australia zoo world we're talking about here.
I can see him taking the animals and then he's taking them to his dad and then setting up Gribble's zoo. See, that could have...
that would have been a better engagement of the Gribble factor as opposed to just we're going to sell them to a zoo.
Yeah, because that's just very lowbrow. And I feel the Gribbles, while they do have a lot of lowbrow moments, do have higher schemes and aspirations.
Yeah, their schemes are definitely, I'm going to start my own attraction. Is a very because that's a running thing with fucking Gribble, and you could see him trying to turn the whole fucking thing into like build a hotel there and we'll watch the fucking turtle. And not giving a shit that it fucks with the turtle.
Which is a better idea. Anyway. So Bronson attacks by leaping at them, screaming, to which they're taken aback at first, but then they realize, it's just Branson.
It's just and you can pick him up and throw him.
Yeah, because he's tiny.
Yeah. It's an 8-year-old child, and I can sit on you like a cushion.
So Bronson is worried now about this turtle, and he's had this date in mind for 6 months.
See, this is kind of the key to why this fucking works for me, because it wasn't just happenstance. It wasn't like his feet were just rotten and gross, and he was a gross little kid, and he fucking figured out that
Which is what I thought.
Yeah.
Up until now.
That had just been like the operant fucking thing. This was 100% a completely deliberate plan, with lots of things that happened throughout the series being Bronson's. Like when Bronson knocked the dog out with the foot smell, that was him seeing if he could use it as a weapon. Like all the things that he's been doing with it, and they bring it up with these little fucking insets that use a bubble effect for some reason. They've never used it before, but they decided to use it here. Of him going back over like the things that we've been seeing over the course of the series, and seeing how like this is him realizing that his feet stink abnormally. Realizing that he could harness, like use it as a weapon, harness the power of it. And that's everything that we've been seeing. Like the bit when he was in the fucking creek.
Yeah, the water
before spirit. He met the water spirit. When he made that couple go away, it was him like, I could drive away the bullies with this. Like I could really get this to work.
So I wrote down clip show of Branson talking about his feet smell. And he does. He says, I first noticed when my smell was special, and that just made me shudder. Just that sentence, it felt wrong. It felt unnatural.
It feels like something that would come up in one of those old videos about puberty you'd have to watch and fucking health ed. Because like words special and smell, it's just like, the word special pops up in a lot of that. You're going through a special time, and it's like, I don't want that.
So
mixed.
Bronson discovers
I don't want to think about Bronson and glands.
He has an unnatural smell, and then it shows all the clips of him harnessing, as you've said, and learning about it.
Yeah.
To
his own fucking, Xavier's school for the gifted. Oh, God. And Pete and Linda don't believe him, so Bronson takes his fucking feet off. And now, like...
Takes his feet off?
Yeah, for his foot guns. Yeah, takes his shoes off, and now, like, the feet have, like, this special effect. So it's got like this wafting yellow
it's
miasma.
It's just this big yellow mist.
Yeah,
and
it's a gross, thick kind of baby shit yellow, which is
I'm nearly gagging just seeing it because I can just imagine.
It is appropriately unpleasant. And then, Peter and Linda are nearly fucking driven from the room, and then you know, they acknowledge, all right, yeah, you've got to do this, but if we get this done quickly, there'll still be time for you to get back to like Faye's party. So that's like the tension of the episode is like, all right, Bronson has a thing he wants to do that matters and does matter. And also if there's, you know, Faye's party, which also does sort of matter. I mean, some of the fucking reason it matters is like narrative contrivance, but all right. Like, it's a kids show and they just pulled off a 6-month fucking build up. So we'll fucking give them a little bit of leeway. You've earned some room, you know? And then we get stock footage of a turtle.
As we do.
You know,
that's which is essentially
a sea turtle
that's Old Faithful arriving to its island to lay its eggs.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of that stock
footage. I'm pretty
footage.
sure all turtles are, like, all those sea turtles are Old Faithfuls, though. Like, I thought that was the whole deal. Was like, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, go fucking have 100 kids on the beach. And some of them live.
It's literally, it is one of the nature's most stupid things in my eyes, because it's just like, what do? Well, you come up to the beach to the same spot every fucking year so your predators know where you are to lay 100 babies.
And they do, too, because they hang out. They're like, oh, yeah.
In an unprotected location, and then leave. Goodbye. Yeah, good luck. Why 100? Well, a lot of them don't make it to the water.
Yeah.
Because they just get eaten.
Well, that's
die.
Those are the two strategies that any life form has.
Yeah.
A lot, and some of them will live, or one useless thing you have to look after for fucking like several years. And we've wound up with that fucking, you know, the latter, obviously.
You know, like, over in some countries, they still have that swarm ideal.
Ireland.
And they have like 7 kids sleeping in one room.
Irish Catholics.
Yeah.
It's like,
we got to fucking have a lot of them, you know?
Yeah. The consumption will get like 4. The Fae will take their tithe.
People think they're very pretty. They're actually monsters. They eat the babies.
It is funny how much, like, it's like, oh yeah, fairies, they're cute and fun. And then, like, in Ireland, it's like, no, they're like horrible monsters that steal your children and replace them with autistics, which is basically what, like, that's done to explain. It's like, my baby's weird. And it's like, well, the Fae took your regular baby and left behind this weird fucking replacement.
I love that. Yeah, that's the reasoning. Yeah. It's just, it's
imagine, like, yeah, there's a few syndromes. It's like, there's autism's definitely one of them. There's another one I can't remember the name of. It's weird, and it kind of makes your kid look like Rod and Todd Flanders. But yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, the Fae folk have absconded with your.
I do also like the odd mental illnesses, like the one that you actually think you are dead. And you have passed on, and you're just kind of like a ghost in limbo.
Hanging around.
And the other one is that you think every single person has been replaced by an exact double.
Yeah, there's a glitch in the facial recognition system. It's really interesting because the part that recognizes faces is a very specific part. And it can be damaged while leaving all the other parts of your memory intact.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
I just find it all fascinating.
Yeah, there are some good books about that. Like The Man Who Mistook His Wife for His Hat is probably one of the better and more well-known ones. Yeah, it was a guy that had been like profoundly blind his entire life.
Holy shit.
And then one day they figured out a way to fix it. And the problem is they hooked up eyeballs to an occipital lobe that had never learned to work.
Yeah.
And so visual data was going in, but there was nothing to process it correctly.
Wow.
So it was just, he could see, but it had no fucking,
That's mind-blowing.
Meaning. Yeah, no, like, what's his name? Oliver Sacks is the guy. He's also the guy that the movie Awakenings was based on. He's a fairly legendary...
I kind of just imagine that, like, just close my eyes and just, like, darkness. Like, that's all you know. Just completely. And then just suddenly image. That would just fuck you.
It is like, it's like being shown a word you know how to read and being told to imagine and not being able to read that.
Yeah.
Like, it's something you consciously cannot
fucking do.
Like, it's just impossible.
So where were we?
Well, the... You know, Pete and Linda acknowledge like the issue of the turtle, and they bust out like, you know, some fucking gas masks.
Oh
that they
yes,
just have,
yes.
Which
It's concerning.
Well, the thing is like, would it be concerning normally? Yes. Is it the kind of thing I just expect Tony to have around the house for something? Fine. Yeah. You know what? Of course.
He's also a conspiracy nut that is
these days. Yeah,
D-Day's
absolutely.
Coming.
Yeah, like. You could absolutely see like a fucking version of Tony where he's like a complete like anti-vaxxer and shit. Like it's just so easy to go off that edge for him. Got some more stock footage of the turtle. Now we're at the school and the class hasn't started yet, so the bullies are chatting about the way they're going to capture the turtle.
And the question is asked, how do you catch turtles anyway? And Gribbs answers with, you hypnotize them. And I was just like, I can't refute that.
I mean, like, having seen like these sea turtles on the beach, like, okay, catching one in the water, that's a challenge because that's kind of their environment.
Yeah, they're slippery, they move fast.
They're faster than a fucking human's gonna be, like, unless you got one of those tubes that shoots you along. And even then, like, you know, they can just go down. They can hold their breath way longer than fucking we can, you know. So, like, on land though, like when you see them wander up onto the land, it's like you can. When you say how do you catch this, you pick it up. Like it's not capable of running away. It's not capable of really, like it might try to nip at you, but it can't. Like its head's in there. You can just pick it up from the back.
It's not like it's a shark that can go on land.
Yeah.
Because like if there was a shark, if the shark just had like legs on the bottom of it like a centipede and it just crawled onto the land and you tried to grab it, it just bites you.
That'd be fucking
like,
great. I imagine them with these stubby little hippo legs.
I imagine them with baby legs. You know, actual human little baby legs. Like just
baby legs. Yeah, because like it's like asking like trying to like a shark going, oh, how do you catch a human in the water? And it's like that's a weird question. You just got to meet it because it's just sitting there. It's like they can't move. It's like that. It's like you don't need to fucking hypnotize. It's as good as hypnotized as it is. It's useless.
I do believe that Gribbs thinks he can hypnotize animals.
There are people that fucking still think that they can do shit like that too,
which is insane. It's like, no, you got like 5 dogs to maybe sit down. Like go try that with that vicious junkyard dog over there that has never known nothing but cruelty.
Or try it with like a not domestic animal, you know?
Go up to a wild horse. Good luck, champ.
Yeah.
It's gonna kick you.
So like Pete and Linda come in and they very like overtly talk to Snapper about how they want to save a turtle and they'd like some stuff to help save the turtle, so they need the key to the storeroom. And so, you know, it's done very, it's very conspicuously in front of the bullies. So the bullies follow them to the storeroom. And then Pete and Linda go, oh, look, the door's open. And the bullies run up. And inside is Bronson, who's been sitting there for a while. And he can't get his shoes off because of the most ferocious knot known to man, the double granny. Which, to be fair, is 100% a way to completely stifle an 8-year-old.
Who did his shoes up?
Probably his dad.
But his dad would have, like, his dad was in the condition and the smell of them, surely, and done something about it. So you'd think that it would be himself.
I feel like it was probably still just Tony. Like, you know, because if you can't undo a double granny, I'm going to say you're probably not in charge of tying your shoes either. You know, it's a dad job, and dad's gone whippity whip and just fucking double grannied it. And that's it. Those shoes are on there now.
Very anticlimactic. Bronson can't get his shoes off.
It's also kind of weird because, like you said, like why? Because I was thinking, oh, they're gonna try and lock the bullies in the fucking storeroom.
Yeah,
and the feet smell will be a backup plan he has to go to.
That's what I said while we were watching it. I'm like, because when they said, oh, it's already unlocked. We don't need this key, and they said it out loud. The bullies rushed up, and I thought they'd go. The bullies had a plan because they overheard them asking for supplies to save the turtles.
They were like going to go in there.
Yeah, exactly, take those supplies. And then they just pull the door closed and lock it because they got the key. But no, we had the stupid plan with Bronson, who doesn't even have his shoes ready. You would have checked that before the plan starts.
Yeah, you'd have been in there with them.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the bullies just go, well, sorry, and leave. And it's like, well, that was a shit plan.
Fucking terrible.
It was an awful plan. So Bronson follows the bullies, but he sees them leaving the school. He tries to follow them, but Fay's like, are you coming to my party? And then like accosts him and pulls him back in.
Yeah, Bronson, like, because he is an idiot, doesn't explain things well. And so everything he says sounds like the deranged lies of a stupid child, which is a problem when on the odd occasion when you're actually telling the truth. So
also, I glazed over one part when they're in that shed. He says "up the pong" for the first time, which is going to become a very used phrase through this episode. And
it's this episode's catchphrase.
Pissed me off because our good old friend $2 an hour caption writer wrote "up the pung." P-U-N-G, and it's Pong, P-O-N-G. There was a lot of mistakes in this one, a lot.
Yeah, there really were.
Which is, it's insane. Like, I reckon I could get an AI to recognize this better than the job they've done.
I think these days it probably could do better. I mean, there's going to be some stuff that's always going to challenge.
I guess we don't know when this was captioned either, because this could have been very early. It might have even been from a DVD just pulled straight off.
It's possible.
It might have been wrong back then.
I mean, I'm kind of curious now.
To get a physical copy of that DVD and
or to like
see it.
just run an episode through YouTube's like auto captioner.
Actually,
because there might be episodes on YouTube.
There are episodes on YouTube. We'll have to check.
We'll experiment with this. Yeah, we'll do that for next time. Yeah, so like Faye just thinks Bronson's talking shit and like shoves him to class. Just doesn't care that the teenagers aren't coming to fucking class. I suppose you've got your own problems, and like that's a Snapper issue. That's Snapper's disciplinary fucking yard, and he can deal with it. You've got 8-year-olds. Fuck that mess.
Because Snapper notices that 3 students are just missing. Doesn't even seem to care. Just goes, well, these students aren't here.
Yeah, so like Snapper's talking about I love, the classic thematic connection, and Snapper's just talking about like extinct species.
And so Linda and Pete asked to be excused.
Yeah.
Which is
no.
Which is, because like, why, where are you going? Yeah. You're in school.
Bronson asks to pee, and then when Faye looks like she's about to not let him, he acts like he's about to piss his own pants. That, unsurprisingly, fucking works. Can I pee? Puts the teacher in the position where they have to look you in the eye in front of a classroom saying, no, you are not allowed to go urinate, which is a hard thing to do. Not impossible, but hard.
That's like a basic human right.
Yeah. Whereas like, may I be excused is literally translates to, hi, I don't want to be here anymore. Can I just not be in this space?
Yeah.
And no, a teacher's going to go, you better have a fucking good reason. You're not allowed to just go, boo, and just walk out the fucking door. Like, that's not, that's just madness.
So Bronson obviously gets out of class and he legs it. Yeah. And he tries to find Pete and Linda who are in class, and you overhear Snapper like disciplining people.
Snaking his fucking
and
way.
I love this because this is my favorite sentence in the whole episode. Your brain seems to be endangered, which is fucking killer. If a teacher said that to someone in class, that's a slay. You're down. The whole class is going to be laughing at you.
Yeah, and like you don't get to misbehave anymore.
No.
Because you will not have the social support of the people around you.
Because Snapper commands a presence with the way he talks.
Your brain is in danger.
Your brain is endangered.
The best part I liked about this too was like, and here we go, some other shit of like, once you've got some built up lore, you don't need as much filler fucking dialogue.
Yeah.
Because Snapper is talking about like the dodo and some other things that have gone extinct. Yep. And he brings up the Mongolian cat. And just talked about how it was a marvelous creature and sadly was skinned and turned into some very unique hats that have also all gone fucking missing. And that's fucking great.
That's a direct link to the Mongolian copy hat.
And it's one that fleshes out the world. It's not like a link that's just like, oh yeah, remember that fucking weird hat. Like that's nice, but one where like, oh yeah, people have like, there's like vague other bits of information about these strange things wafting throughout the fucking, universe that they exist in. Like that's really fucking good. And I enjoyed that.
It's surprising that there is that deep an amount of a world build in a kids' TV show because they didn't need to do that. That episode was so long ago.
Like they did get better at it eventually. Like I remember, did you ever watch Erie, Indiana? On like
that rings a bell.
It was like Kids X-Files, and
I
it was
think
like really good.
Yeah.
And then they had like another series of it where like the kids had grown too old, so they had like replacement kids, but they were from like a different dimension.
Oh,
which was weird. It didn't really work, but like that, at least that one first series of Erie, Indiana was solid. So like Bronson harnessing his fucking Metal Gear training on fucking Turtle Island is doing the full crawl past under the window.
It is very Mission Impossible music style.
Yeah, and like gets the shoes off and lobs the shoes into Pete and Linda's classroom like a grenade.
There's some good shots here.
Yeah, like
that shoe like potentially flying through the air looked way better than I thought it was going to.
It is really fascinating how much difference there is just in the general production value and quality of the sort of baseline stuff. Compared to the first season where it really was like most of it was shit and the good stuff was just really scattershot. It's not like there's this weird situation where like the production values are better but the writing's objectively worse in every regard. It's like there have been some bad episodes, but there were some dumb episodes of the first fucking series. It's like there really is like someone is sitting there going, oh, how can we shoot this in a dynamic fashion? Someone's busting out the fucking film school for fucking, round the twist. And power to them. So, like, the fucking shoes fly in and proceed to just kill the classroom. Like, children are just passing out. Which, I mean, I know it's supposed to be the smell itself, but really what you're talking about there is oxygen deprivation, and these children are quite dead. And Pete and Linda quickly get the gas masks on, so they're fine. And then Snapper tries to get the fucking fire alarm going and breaks the glass, but doesn't get the fucking alarm off.
It starts going.
Oh, does it?
It does, yeah.
I didn't even hear it.
It's very low, but it does go off, yeah. Which is not what you want for a fire alarm. Danger, danger, fire, shh, danger, fire.
Welcome to Dave's Sensible Fire Alarms. Fire alarms that aren't about startling you. When you have a minute, there's a fire. So he just passes out nobly trying to save his classroom. And
now, something when Bronson takes the shoes off to throw in, the makeup job on his feet is...
Oh, that's right, yeah.
This
is where we get the fucking first shot of the feet.
Really good. It looked exactly as I said it would be, which was fetid and moldy because it's just been retaining water in there for
There's
that
like
long.
this extra skin of foot, and then the veins are really big and pronounced. And that second part doesn't make sense, but it just fits.
Yeah.
These things look like feet from like, a Resident Evil game or something.
It looks like they've just come out of the green pod. Like they've just slid out as like a clone, just all covered in the fluid and shit. And
so now, Bronson's got thrown his fucking shoes into the room. He's fucking put his fucking socks in his pockets. And now Pete and Linda are with him, and he's galloping out into the street to like catch the bus to get where he's going. But he's like, his feet are just on now.
Yeah.
It's like that fucking X-Men comic where that kid wakes up and his mutant ability is kicked in, and his mutant ability is just to vaporize everybody, like within a fucking, 3 kilometer fucking radius.
Yeah.
So his whole town and everyone he's ever cared about is like fucking dead. It's like that, except everyone just goes to sleep.
Yeah.
So he gets on the bus, everyone goes to sleep. No bus.
So they put him in a basket of a bicycle, ET style.
They run up to 2 cyclists who then pass out, and the rules. Now they have bikes. That's just how that works.
You kind of left 2 people asleep in the middle of the road.
Yeah. This episode has a body count. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. Like
these people are dead.
Yeah. Don't hide from it.
Embrace the murder count.
Yeah. My show, shit's fucked absolutely well. And so now Bronson's just in the front of a bike while 2 children in gas masks pedal him around, just shouting up the pong at like strangers and Gribble.
Because they do go past Matron and Gribble who have come out of a shop to buy a birthday present for Fay. To which Matron's like, I don't know, dear. It looks awfully expensive. And Harold's like, well, that's the trick, dear. It looks expensive, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that Bronson got Faye for her birthday.
So it's, we get that little bit of a payoff. And then,
Yeah, just they ride past and Bronson looks at them and shouts, up the pong, and then they keep going. And I've never wanted to punch a child more in the face than that. Just every time he says, up the pong.
Try and throw a rock at him. Because if nobody sees you do it, you can just deny you did it. And everyone's just going to assume rocks constantly
I want to know,
Bronson's head anyway.
Lube-mobile kid, after you grew up, do you still get people trying to punch you to this day?
I think he
Drop me a line.
We cut to Tony in the lighthouse, and he's still just muttering Fay like a fucking lunatic.
Oh, every time he hears a noise, he thinks Fay's coming. That's like, what is wrong with you?
Fay. All right.
I think he's been replaced. I don't think he's a person.
This demonstrates adult love. I don't want to say worse than Attack of the Clones, but I'd say equally bad, but just in a slightly different direction. Because all of Attack of the Clones was just like a fucking school shooter staring at a girl from across a room. And that's like, what's his name's fucking George Lucas. My brain was getting the Lucas and saying Lars Ulrich instead. I'm like, look, brain, I know that's not the fucking answer.
Lars Lucas.
Luke Rick. And so a car pulls up and fucking Tony thinks it's Fay and runs out, but it's the fucking Gribbles. And so the kids are on the beach and the bullies are already well ahead of them because, they got delayed and they're off like just on the rise really far away. And again, it's another one of those shots where it's like, oh yeah, they're outside and things look better when you can actually, you can actually story tell. You don't have to just have a bunch of shit. You can just have a shot where like the bullies are really far away ahead of them where they need to be. And you're like, hey, look at that. And so like Pete and Linda are pressing the fucking issue of, the marriage at Bronson going, look, you got to make a choice. You got to, they say, coming to the birthday party is doing the right thing. This is important. And he goes, yeah, you're right. And then, Pete and Linda take off the fucking gas masks because they're the full trench gas masks, the full cover, the little fucking dangly bit with the canister that filters and shit. And they're complaining about them being hot, which, look, in Australia, 100%. I've worn gas masks in this country, and it's like, there would have to be mustard gas outside for it to be worth doing this. This is hideously unpleasant. And so when they take the masks off, they've just filled them with water, so all this water just comes out. It's like they've been,
I thought that was a bit
sweating.
too much. Like, yeah, you'd be sweating, but like, for Pete's one looked fine, but Linda's looked like she just got out of the pool. Like, I'm talking about just emerged straight from out underwater.
When the tension of the water is still on you.
Yeah.
Not when you just like got bits of water on you, when the water is, when you're dragging some pool with you.
Yes.
And so like, Fay arrives at the party and is asking about the kids, and, Tony's making excuses. And meanwhile, Bronson has made his decision.
And Snapper is wearing a snappy outfit.
That's right, yeah, I forgot about that.
That shirt is, I want it.
It looks like a really close-up photo of a TV, where you can see all the pixels.
Or it looks like one of the old pixelated Windows logos as a shirt. Nearly.
It's just I know. I'll wear my fancy shirt. I'm always...
Nothing commands a presence like Snapper in his snappy outfit.
The worst part is, like, you see these things, like, back when I was, like, fucking working door, and every time it was like, oh, God. Because you'd get these guys out there who'd buy, like, the fun shirt from, like,
Lordy.
the Lowe's catalog, and that's how they'd advertise them, too.
Oh, no.
Like, show off your personality with this shirt that's, like, 4 different fabrics in each corner. And it's just they've sewn 4 shirts together, and some dude will buy that, and every time it was just like, oh, this guy's gonna get drunk and cause trouble.
Yeah.
He's worked in a mine his whole life, and his social skills are built around like screaming and prostitutes.
And he has way too much money for him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're underpaid, because literally you do an awful job. An awful job. You go out in a hole.
It's not. It isn't. They're paid well, but it isn't an issue of pay.
No,
it's like they're paid well. Great. They're also desocialized monsters.
Yeah. The problem is you come out of that hole for like 2 months for a break.
Yeah.
And it's like all you've known is the hole.
Yeah. It's like if every now and then we let like Immortan Joe bring some of his war boys into town, and it's just like, hey, you're not raising these normally.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they're just running around screaming and just picking up everything and trying to eat it. That's what happens when the mining people come.
I think it's very interesting psychologically, because it's the same sort of thing like people who live in the countries like the Scandinavian regions and shit, that where it's dark for longer and all that sort of stuff, and you don't develop properly. And that's the same with these people in the mines, because they don't have proper light. They don't have real light. They're down there. Sometimes they're down there for a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what happens? Well, you don't get the light. You don't get the because. Yes, you get sunburn in the light, but it's still important, very important, to get that on your skin to absorb those things.
Humans are built around a day-light-night cycle. And the fact that, like, we have to give the far north Scandinavians pills to keep from killing themselves during, like, the 9-month winter is really all the evidence you need for that.
Yeah.
Like, humans developed melanin to deal with too much sun. We haven't grown, like, a fucking brain that won't go wonky if you get 0 sun. And that's still a fucking issue. Fucking.
So where were we?
Well, Bronson's running up to Pete and Linda and knocks them out.
Oh yeah, because they tell Bronson, you need to do the right thing. We need to go to the party for Fay and Dad because they're people. They matter more. And Bronson he agrees and walks off. And then he changes his mind. They've taken off the gas masks, as you said. So now they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable. They're at Bronson's mercy. So Bronson just strides up with the feet and knocks him out.
Yeah. And then the problem is, though, he's on the beach. There's lots of water on the beach. And he's got to get to where the bullies are, which is far away, and across lots of little, like, those little mini rivers you get when, like, the water empties out onto the beach.
Yeah.
And he's got no real way of getting across. Originally, Pete was going to piggyback him, but now that's the PD back is unconscious.
I just put Pete down, use him as bridge.
Damn, that's a good idea. Yeah, you could have just built a bridge out of
he's
people.
knocked out, yeah.
I mean, the problem is you got to drag Pete. And granted,
you can roll him.
Yeah, granted, he is the skinniest skinny guy that you've could possibly see. But yeah, you can roll him. I mean, the problem is then you're in, that's adding time you just don't have.
Because he does try to get the boat, which is just beached.
Yeah, there's just a boat on the beach and he tries to drag it over.
Sitting there a while.
And so he goes for like the classic, the beach classic, finding a stick and attempting to pole vault.
It's a shitty stick.
It's driftwood. Yeah, we're not talking about like competition legal. It's like a bendy bit of driftwood.
And the problem with driftwood is you pick it up and you go, oh yeah, that's solid. It's been drifting. That's why it's called driftwood. And what does it do? It absorbs all that water and becomes brittle as fuck.
Yep. And he goes to pole vault over and it just snaps and he just lands feet first in the fucking water.
Now, I dispute this. I think standing in water for like a fucking second, because you can literally land in and go, oh shit, and jump straight out. I think it'd still have an effect. You're not going to wash 6 months because the mold and fungus is not going anywhere. Like,
I've been infected with T-virus.
Yeah. But that just goes all the way after you step in water once. And it's like,
water is not a good washing medium. That's why we invented shit to go in water to make it a good washing medium. But all right, fine. Superman can't see through lead. There's a magic rock that makes him gay. That's just...
Yeah, it's fine.
We just have these things. And so Bronson has a conversation with himself like Gollum where he's like, okay, maybe I just go to the party. No, I have to save the turtle. And then we get some stock.
I can't do it. Yes, I can. Yeah. It is very Gollum-like, yeah.
It's not like...
Bronson.
Yeah, because it's... He's speaking out loud and answering himself. Like, I'll talk out loud constantly, but it's just my inner monologue.
Yeah.
I don't talk to the inner... It's just a running thing. It's not like... There's no conversation occurring. It's a monologue, not a fucking dialogue.
I talk to myself sometimes and answer myself.
That's get you another girlfriend.
I mean, knowing, yeah.
Not your.
Hey, look, knowing my father's history, I'm worried. Once I can see everything, it'll really click into place.
You probably want to keep an eye on that.
Nah, I'm fine.
For now. So, Gribble is at the fucking party, the birthday party, giving a campaign speech, which is boring everybody.
It's just awful.
Which is incredibly funny. Faye and Tony are discussing the issue of getting kids' approval for the wedding, even though, again, this is one of those ones where, like, in a normal situation, you can just have a conversation that fixes this, but it's a kids' show, so fine. It's okay when a kids' show does this. It's not okay when the CW makes this the hinge point for, like, 5 seasons of their superhero shows. That's bad. So Bronson finds the bullies sitting there waiting for the turtle at the beach, and they've got like some kind of net, and okay, so there was a big actual net, like something you need 2 hands and you throw and you land on or something. Again, something that's not going to be moving very fast, and one of them's got one of those little butterfly nets, like you might use to catch like a fucking butterfly, which I think maybe he was going to use for the eggs or something.
That's
the most sensible fucking reason I can think of to have it apart from being stupid.
I mean, because like you don't need to throw it over the turtle. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Now, so Bronson just runs down even without his fucking super ability and just like fucking gives the bullies shit and they run off after him, which is fair. Like they're suspicious that the Twist kids are doing something to fuck with their plan, and Bronson's annoying. So naturally, if he shows up, you're going to just forget what you were there to do and just want to fucking slug the little ginger kid in the face. And okay, so like, help me out here. Because when the turtle first shows up on the beach, I thought it was a prop, but I'm beginning to think maybe it was an actual fucking turtle. I really don't know.
It was really hard to tell. That's what I thought too.
Because it looked like just a weirdly good prop, but also, because I'm torn. Because they would have had to have found an actual live turtle, which is weird. Or they'd have had to have got a turtle prop, and the turtle prop's weirdly good.
I think it was an actual turtle.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Because they probably went to SeaWorld and was like, hey, can we, film with the turtle?
There might have been like a habitat nearby and they just talked to one of the researchers.
Because it was laying eggs on the beach and that was real.
They had footage definitely of like...
I mean, that's probably footage wasn't of that turtle, but like that thing, the way it was moving and everything was just... If that was an animatronic, like... That's way more money than this show has budget.
If it was
for.
a prop, it's amazing. If it's a real turtle, turtles look stupid.
I think turtles just look stupid.
Yeah, like they
do look like Muppets.
It was just like that looks like a fucking. I suppose it's that issue of they're not in their habitat. Like it on land looks shit. I have to figure that out.
Because in the water they glide.
Yeah,
they zoom everywhere.
It's like
but yeah, as soon as you're on the fucking land, it's like, well, how do I walk? Well, the shell like drags. Yeah. So I go, huh.
I have to heave my way along the fucking beach like I'm not meant to be here.
See, I think they should have just evolved to pull themselves into the shell and roll.
Like the fucking cartwheel spider.
Yeah.
Just
one that just goes through the desert like 60k an hour.
I love that.
Because like imagine just that thing hitting you in the face. Just walking in the desert, bam. Giant spider to the side of the head.
I'd love to see like a fucking full tilt like swarm of them, like a plague. Like it looks like just like 100 or so of the things just fucking hooning along the fucking dunes. And then just gotta get out of the way of that. And so, the bullies are chasing Bronson, and Bronson's having a fucking double back to the beach. And then he remembers, oh, he's got a sock in his pocket. He pulls it out, and naturally it is swarming with the hideous yellow fucking stench, and the bullies pass out. And then we get some footage of an actual turtle laying eggs.
Yeah, and that always creeps me out because like the way its tail.
It really looks like the alien queen.
It does.
That's basically it, except like,
because like
the rest of it's not quite
as humans, we birth as mammals, we grow the thing.
You shit a whole baby out
inside, and then we shit it out grown. Whereas these things are just like egg.
Yeah.
Now the egg turns into a turtle, and that I don't know. That just freaks me out. Like it freaks me out enough. Humans growing in a human. Like when you think about it, when you really think about it, because it's like
not my problem.
It's just
it's one of those. It's one of the two things I fucking.
I wish humans could just shit eggs.
It's like I love it's I love babies and periods because women have a lot of valid complaints and they all seem to center on like guys, and it's like, all right, look, fair enough. But then there's two things about their lives that just fucking hard suck, and it's not my fault, and that is hilarious, which is why they will go apeshit at you if you make jokes about that. They can't blame me for that one. That wasn't my idea. I didn't think, hey, it'd be fun if you're just like kind of angry for like 3 days of the month. That's not benefiting me. That's not like I didn't fucking, how would that make my life happier or better? It'd be great if this didn't happen to you, but it does. It's not my fault, and it's funny.
See, when I get my designer vagina, I won't even have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, you can fucking get all the something installed, but like, why would you bother?
I have a period.
Like, why would
Fuck
you?
that.
Yeah. Like, why would you add the bits that suck?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you might get something else, like maybe like fucking, like a turtle, like like an octopus. You can have a squid pouch, like an ink pouch.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You could go under the knife and get an ink pouch to escape your prowls.
Yeah. I mean, like, I would love to see somebody do that to somebody.
So good.
Yeah, like
I'd install Spider-Man web slingers in my wrists.
I mean, you'd be a much more accurate spider. So
I'd install Tobey Maguire in my wrists. It just pops out.
So everyone comes running down to the beach and realizes, oh, okay, Bronson was like fucking.
Here's a little boy looking weirdly at a turtle standing next to 3 knocked out young boys.
It's just 3 unconscious.
They've
boys
also been
and a
unconscious for probably half an hour at this point. They're brain dead.
You gotta, yeah, it depends. I mean, all right. So the thing about knocking human beings out is it doesn't work like it does at all in any fucking TV show or movie. And you know this because you can watch fights where dudes knock each other out. And like, these are some fucking solid hits. Like, if you watch some of these cunts fucking drill a shin into the side of someone's head, and as someone who has fucking had a shin drilled into the side of his head, that's an event. Like, that's a fucking thing. Your whole body goes, what? Okay, hang on. And you'll just fucking drop. And the thing of it is, though, they don't just have a nap for, like, several convenient narrative hours. Like, they're fucked up, but they're walking and stumbling, and there's bits are coming back online within seconds. If that doesn't happen, that means you've cut something off severely. And the best way to knock somebody out is a blood choke, where you starve the brain of blood. Because that's the one that's least likely to cause massive fucking internal damage to the brain.
Right.
That's also tricky, but like I did that to my cousin once and he was only out for like, 30 seconds. And then they're just back because the blood's going back to there's no way to just switch a fucking person off and like have them just be out. That isn't like, requires like an anesthesiologist, which is the reason that's a separate guy and a separate fucking job is because it's really fucking hard. You can't just like fucking grab someone and chlorophyll them and just, have it work without them fucking, again, possibly coming to during your fucking surgery or feeling something or just waking up a minute later.
Also, you said chlorophyll.
Oh, yeah. What is it? Chloroform.
Chloroform. Yeah. Chlorophyll's what's in plants. Plants! Go to sleep! Plants!
There are probably some plants you could do that with.
Oh, I'd probably 100%. I'm surprised we haven't weaponized the gimpy.
I'm glad we haven't. That's a war crime. And yeah, so that's the thing that always comes up with Batman. It's like, I just knock him out. It's like, no, you're causing massive irreparable.
You're killing
damage.
people.
Functionally, yeah. Like you're effectively creating like this fucking city full of potential Benoits, which is not like that's not good
because they're already pretty fucked in the head to begin with. From like,
yeah.
But that's why I love Batman Returns, the second what's his face movie.
Tim Burton.
Yeah, because the major fight scene near the end where he's fighting the Red Triangle gang, he's killing them left, right, and center. There's one that literally runs at him with a bomb strapped to his chest. Bruce kicks him and he falls down a manhole and you hear it explode. That's strapped to him. He's dead. He's in pieces.
I mean, they didn't add the doesn't kill thing till later.
I know, but it's just like you got that's a very low rated movie.
Yeah.
That one's M. Batman, the first Batman's PG. That doesn't feel right, does it?
Ratings are always fucking weird.
I know.
Like, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just some cunt watches the thing and goes, yeah, probably.
Because I think Batman Returns. Wait, what's the third one?
It's
Batman Forever.
Yeah, Batman Forever. That's it.
I think that one goes back to M, to PG, and then I think Batman and Robin goes back up to M again because that one's got sexual, because it's got Ivy and stuff in it.
This one might make me horny.
But yeah, I just love that movie because it just shows Batman fucking people up for like 5 minutes in a row, and it's just like, yeah, none of those people are living. They're all dead. You literally threw a batarang in that man's neck.
I know, like it's that narrative cheat.
Yeah,
it's just like, yeah, you can't just have people. I mean, like breaking limbs. All right, it still sucks, but like, yeah, someone can just be like, oh yeah, why do you walk funny? Like one time someone shouted, "It's the bat," and I was like, well, all right, guess that's work today. And then yeah, fucking that dude fucked me up.
Medical fucking professions in Gotham would be cleaning up.
I mean, I got to assume it's a lot of very wealthy vets.
Yeah.
Because I don't think any of these people are going to a legit doctor.
No. Well, that's what you do. If you're the smart person, you'd go to like the bar with no name or something like that. You find the place where you know the villains are and be like, I can patch you up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm best.
Yeah.
You know, what are they going to do?
You wouldn't even have to like make them expect. You wouldn't even have to grift them. You could just be like, oh yeah, I'll do it. $50 each.
Yeah.
Because you'd be fucking hammer and tongs fucking, morning to night. Or probably you'd have to run it at night. So it'd probably be like a night job. But yeah, you'd fucking clean up. And it's not like Batman can really come and fuck you up because you're not doing anything.
No, you're literally helping people. Yeah.
It's like technically you're the other half of this equation.
Yeah.
Like you get to go home and go, I didn't kill anybody tonight because I made sure this person didn't get sepsis. Like don't just fuck off. All right. Like you're going to keep doing this. Fine. I'm not out fucking doing anything illegal. Like, all right. I'm running this fucking weird off license fucking, surgery, but welcome to America. What are you going to do?
Like I'd even offer insurance. They could pay a monthly fee and it could cover certain amount of stuff.
Like you'd have to expand. Yeah. Let's face it, the goal is to get out of that business. You don't want to just be doing that as a job.
No.
So you let the capital pile up at first. And then you'd be like, all right, let's, we'll turn this into a thing. And I'd probably get like, Black Mask or something in on it. Because if you try to set up a big racket like this in town anyway, they're going to notice and probably do something.
They'll just take it over or shut you down.
Yeah, they'll find a way to ruin it. So you just got to like fucking trick them into buying you out straight away and then just move somewhere else.
So the climax of the episode is the turtle laying its eggs, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at it, it's so lovely." And Gribble and Matron see the boys.
Well, they want to know where their boys are, and then
Yeah,
Bronson's like, "Oh, they're up there."
So they come up and they're like, "Oh no, what's happened to our boys?" And they pass out themselves because the sock is still up there, being very pungent, and they fall down, get knocked out, and the episode ends. Focus the camera on Bronson, and he goes,
"Oh wait," because then Bronson's got to give his gift to Fay.
Oh yes,
and he goes digging through his pockets and forgets that he's got his other sock in his other pocket, and he pulls that out first, and then everyone passes out, and so now it's just this little boy alone on a beach,
and it focuses and it looks at him dead on, and there's a lovely shot of him, and he looks and he just goes up the pong, and that's the end of the episode. But this one, the caption actually says "up the pong," and they've spelled
I know
pong correctly.
That got me because it's been saying pong this whole fucking
And I just
episode.
said to you, I said, "Did that say pong?"
It must have.
And you
been
were like,
algorithm.
"I don't know." So we went back, and it did say pong, and it was like, "How come it got all the other ones wrong?"
It has to have been a fucking algorithm.
I reckon it's just someone who doesn't know English very well sitting
That's
there
possible.
scripting
Or
it.
at least mightn't be familiar with because I don't think pong gets around that much outside of Australian English.
Yeah. It's Australian
smell,
English,
yeah.
especially from children, can be hard to hear, but it's pong. You can hear it saying pong quite easily. There's
there's not a lot of
ong and are completely different.
Yeah.
Throat movements. So
just ask the Vietnamese.
Yeah, and then we get the end of the episode, and so now we've got the climax. I don't think are we done with the feet?
I mean, we must be because they got wet.
Yeah,
and that's effectively killed it. So
but he still has a smash because his special smell was only for wearing his shoes for a day. So
I feel like it's one of those things where they could go back to it again, but they need to be narrative work to get it to work again. Because what we've got is they were wet. The feet no longer have that power.
Right.
Like I think he can build the power back up, but that will take more.
That's
more
what
time
I'm just
to
wondering
practice.
if they're ever going to mention it, or I don't think they will. I think it's just going to be gone completely.
It might pop up in passing, but yeah, I'd be surprised if it became like a narrative point again.
Yeah, we don't need more Branson content.
But I mean, in terms of again, getting things like this to pay off is about those little details, like the fact that it was all, it's a deliberate thing that's been going on in the background this whole time.
Yeah,
and this is how to do things like that. Is you want to, it's similar to how twists work. You want to recontextualize the things you've seen, not contradict the things you've seen. Everything that's been happening that we've seen makes sense for everything that we've seen in this episode, and for all of what Bronson's motivations would be. And the end result is it's weird because it's not the finale of the fucking season by a long shot either.
No,
which is kind of interesting because I'm curious if they're going to be doing is this are they going to be 2, or they're going to be doing more maybe little micro arcs, because there is still the singular arc of the fucking ghosts again kind of occurring.
Well, the ghosts are definitely a future plot point, but it did feel very season finale-ish. But it's not.
I mean, I think
which I think might be an issue, because I think whatever the season ends on, not going to be as impactful as this one, unless it's the ghosts.
Yeah, it'll have to be the ghosts because it's the only other thing that's been getting set.
Because I don't think they're going to keep the ghosts, because the ghosts started in season 2.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll go past season 3. If they do, there'll be different ghosts.
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't it because there's 3 different. Because they have different arcs. I know that.
Yeah, because we had the music ghosts. They went away. These ghosts obviously were like, well, these ghosts are gone.
Season 1, I feel like season 1 is the odd duck here. I feel like it's a little bit like the difference between the Evil Dead and the Evil Dead 2. How Evil Dead 2 is not a sequel exactly, but a retelling.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe that's what we're getting here is the season 2 of Round the Twist is more of a retelling in a lot of ways of some of the elements of it. But Up the Pong is one of those ones where it's what's it called? Smelly Feet.
Smelly Feet
is one of those ones that's it is the success and quality of it is moderately predicated on stuff that you have to have watched other episodes to really appreciate. But it does function, front to back within itself. Like it's a, well shot, solid little bits and pieces here and there. I do like the threading of other sort of canonical elements in there. And again, it's a bit like what I was mentioning with, in Terminator 2 when Sarah Connor runs out of ammo shooting the fucking T-1000 into the goddamn lava. And it's like, that's a very classic trope moment, like running out of the thing you need right fucking, damn, the thing that makes that fucking work, and the thing that makes the movie really good is the fact that you see her drop a single fucking, shotgun shell earlier because she's trying to like fucking, reload while running and injured. And, part of the trick of using all these little dramatic tools like fucking Chekhov's gun and shit is you're not meant to see them. These are not things they're like stagehands. You're not meant to fucking notice the shit that goes on behind the scenes to make this stuff because it has you thinking about stuff that isn't the story. And having just one big one is always like my big fucking thing because it's just so obvious. It's like, oh yeah, look, that's the thing that'll come in handy later. And you're like, okie dokie. Having lots is what really bulks out and like makes your fucking fiction work. Seeing little bits of that like just bubble up in this fucking primitive Australian children's television program is always nice. Yeah, I think it's a good episode and a solid cap to the Pong arc, I suppose. Yeah.
I agree. I thought it's probably been some of the best so far in terms of just canon, story building, world building, just good shots, good compositions. Everything about it was done really well. It had the level.
Some Bronson out of the system.
It had a level because Bronson's not something you can have too often. If you have too much Branson, your steak's gonna be ruined. You got to cook your Branson, rare. If it's
you can't put gingers in the sun.
No. So you get that done, and then we got this episode, which was great. And I'm interested to see if they're going to do any other. Now I'm interested to be like looking out for little things that might be additions in the future.
That's the other thing too. Is it trains an audience, so then you can do more work yourself.
Yeah,
because once you've got people prepped for this kind of thing, you can actually, be a little more complicated or thread some more things into the background, and reward your viewers.
Which is nutty. Because again, it's a children's TV show.
In 1993.
A lot more than I expected.
Yeah. All right, well, we got the fun stuff out of the way, and now the terrifying question that we all live in constant dread of. Have you ever felt like this? Ooh. Amber, what was your best birthday? What was your worst birthday? What's the worst thing you've ever smelled?
Oh, that's a good question.
Silly question. Most hated animal.
Oh, okay.
So,
best
have you ever felt like this? What was your best birthday?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, I know the things that were best from my birthdays, and that was like my mum used to make cakes. Like she just used to make theme cakes. It was
rad.
She very good at that. And she put a lot of effort into the cakes. I remember also, this is
mum cakes.
Probably the thing that stands out most was Thomas the Tank Engine was super popular.
What year was that?
I was like 4.
Right, yeah. So probably get around like 92, 93 kind of thing, yeah.
And do you remember the Thomas and the Tank Engine cakes that went around for a while? They were like big sheet cakes that looked like the characters.
Oh, yeah. Well, they were kind of like, they were like a 2D representation, but they were like fucking massive. Yeah.
They were huge. I always wanted one of those. And I got one. And I remember it. And I'd say that's probably the best birthday because I can remember that.
Fair enough.
Because like those cakes were everywhere, man.
Yeah.
And they were good cakes. Well, they looked good. I don't know if they tasted good. I can't remember that far back, but
they probably didn't. It would have been like just that fucking like in quotes cake with like just a fucking water goddamn. You probably hate them today.
I miss it because you used to go into Coles and on the bakery section they used to have like remember the like gingerbread sort of style character cookies from shows and stuff, and then it had like the colored hardened sort of icing on it.
Oh yeah.
You get like Homer Simpson, all that shit. They just make them. None of them were licensed.
Yeah, do fucking silly
exactly.
Cookie,
it's a small fucking bakery, whatever. But yeah, I miss those. I miss old going into old shopping centers. I've deviated completely, but
mine was it 97 or 98? It was the year the Nintendo 64 came out. Because the 64 came out around it was like March. Because it was before, you know, our birthday, but it was like my birthday present for that year was like getting some extra shit for the 64. So that was kind of all like, you know, there was like my birthday in April, but then March 1st was like Nintendo 64 is coming out. That's when that's what matters here.
1997.
97, right, yeah.
You know, I hate, and I'm so glad that we've got off this bullshit because I'm looking at this and it's like Nintendo 64 Wikipedia release date Japan June 23rd 1996. Okay, North America September 29th 1996. Europe and Australia March 1st 1997.
Yeah.
Fuck that noise.
No, I know, it's fucking insane. Like you'll see this with some other things too. Is like years in between fucking release dates for some shit. It's like that's fucking mental.
Yeah, 3 years later, and you get a game that's been available. And the crazy thing is, the version in Japan often has English on the fucking thing.
Yeah, well, it was like what's that fucking shooter that was on the Nintendo 64 that never got released here? Sin and Punishment.
Right. Yeah.
Sin and Punishment is a great fucking game that you can play on the Nintendo 64. Completely because the entire thing's in English. It just wasn't released. I don't know why.
No. Well, that's the same. Ace Attorney when it first came out, Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
You buy the cart from Japan and you put it in and you just select English and the whole thing was in English. And it like took 2 years to get here. And it's like,
we could release it, but we won't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why?
Like, I get with Elite Beat Agents, they needed to change a few things. Like, relevant music, I think, was like, all right, fair
100%,
enough.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's like it's a lawyer. You could probably just release that. You know, give it a try. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, again, I'm not saying put English in it. The English is already in it.
There's no work. There's no translation that needs to be done.
I don't know what extra shit you're doing here. So yeah, the Nintendo 64 will be fucking mine. It was like pretty soon after that we got like fucking, you know, we got like extra controllers and stuff because that was like, you know, kind of the extra bit I got for my actual birthday. And like a 4-player console at that time was such a big deal.
Oh yeah,
because that was unheard of. Like the multi-tabs existed, but so few people had them.
And also, what games supported them? Like 5.
So yeah, some of the sports games, it's like, so fucking what? I don't really care.
Who's
about that
multi-tapping Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo?
I don't think I ever saw anybody do that at all.
No, God no. That is one of the worst experiences you can ever have.
Yeah.
Because imagine like the 2 vertical planes that are both fucking parallax mode 7 scrolling. Add 4 to the mix.
Yeah,
imagine your eyes fucking trying to concentrate on that. Because the thing about it is, like in a kart game like that you don't feel any dishonor by looking at your opponent's screen, unlike an FPS to like.
Fucking,
also, you're on the same screen. Get over it. The people are going to cheat.
Yeah, Bond.
Yeah.
Like, you're playing 4-player Bond.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at like my little corner of the CRT. No, I know I could see yours. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's like, too bad.
Do you really think I'm going to focus on yours when I'm fighting a dude like with slappers because and I'm trying to duck and weave his guns, but he can't hit me because aiming's fucked.
Yeah. Ben, you're fucking Odd Job, so I don't want to hear it.
If you play Odd Job, fuck you. I played Jaws because I love Jaws.
Yeah, so did I.
And he was also giant.
Yeah, and
he's a big herd box.
Ben figured out the fucking height thing straight away. It's like, oh, you can't hit me. I was like, what? Like, yeah, just bullets go over me. It's like,
Because it naturally centered.
Yeah.
And it was just above Odd Job's head.
Just like the worst part was the best anti-odd job weapon was the worst weapon in the game because the Club had the fucking worst bullet fucking spread. So you just fire wild and just be like, oh yeah, someone will just hit my fucking stupid brother.
See, we had the one of the unpatched versions because there was different revisions. That's the thing back in the day is people don't realize this today. If you go like download a complete ROM set of like 64, and I'm like talking a complete, not just like North America or specific regions.
A full set.
You'll have like 8 versions of one game, and they'll have like V1, like V1.1 or whatever. And it's where, exactly. And they've gone in, they've tweaked and fixed little things. So in older versions of GoldenEye, you could throw proximity mines on an ammo crate and pick up the ammo crate. Proximity mine would disappear. You wouldn't see it visually, but it would still be there. So when the ammo crate respawned, it would just
be an exploding
ammo crate
on
there that was invisible. So people would just go, oh, ammo.
Fucking stop it. No. Because we got fucking WCW versus NWO fucking Revenge, which is still the highest selling fucking third party game on the Nintendo 64.
That's nuts.
Dude, like everybody owned it because if you had like a Nintendo 64 and 4 controllers, you could keep 4 stoned teenagers busy for literally like 48 hours. And you'd have to peel them off of it to get them to clean themselves.
Yeah.
Like it was just, you could just play that game forever. It was so good.
Honestly, that era was just for couch based. There was so many things that came out of the woodwork and got designed. Like Smash Brothers was insanely popular, and it was something that they didn't know. Like they did not know how it was going to be received because it was so different from their core categories and characters. It's like Mario punching Samus in the face, never been done before. But here you can do it. Captain Falcon's an unlockable character. Who the fuck is Captain Falcon? Literally, at the time, that was me. Who the fuck is this character? I didn't read the book that came with F-Zero on the SNES. I didn't even play F-Zero on the SNES.
Yeah.
So
it had great stuff about the characters. Some of it was in universe and shit. It was 100%.
Really good. Like that's the thing. Sad thing is, there's so much amazing detail and world building behind the scenes in F-Zero.
Yeah, they're really.
And it's one of the most underutilized properties on the fucking planet.
And then like that's a competitive field for Nintendo, but yeah, it really is kind of surprising how little like fucking F-Zero has been pulled out. But
shit happens.
All right, worst.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
I mean, I can go first while you think.
Yeah, you go.
Mine's fairly simple.
You go first.
All right, so I went to Japan in 2011, and the goal was I was going to go to I can't remember if it's the Kanamara Matsuri or the Hanamara. I think it's Kanamara Matsuri. But it's that fucking festival where they run around with like everything dick-shaped. It's just a penis festival. The whole thing was a penis festival. And it's like based on this fucking lunar calendar thing. So that fucking year, it was on my birthday. And it's like, I am going to go to Japan. I am going to have my birthday penis festival. It's going to be fucking hilarious. And first of all, that was like, we booked the fucking flights and all the fucking, my girlfriend did because she was organized. She did all of that stuff like months before the fucking earthquake and tsunami. And then we're just like booked for like fucking 4 months after that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's after the tourism things had been lifted, which was lucky because we didn't have to like fucking cancel. But also it just meant like fucking basically lots of shit had been canceled. So like penis fest, no one in Japan is in the mood to like build a fucking shrine made of dicks and carry it through a fucking street, which I understand. It's sad, but I understand. It's like, yeah I probably wouldn't be in the mood. You know, I can't like grin like an idiot carrying like a giant fucking penis while like that kind of sadness is going on. And so I was like, all right, though, I still get to go fucking see Japan. That'll be fun. And so on my actual birthday, it was the morning and we were getting breakfast. And my girlfriend had got this fucking katsudon curry, one of those fucking curry bowl things. And I'd been fairly fucking, in general, because of my allergies, I'm fairly careful with how I fucking eat because, like, I just, you gotta be. So I like, sushi, fine, because I can see it. I know what it is. The fucking shit that's poisonous for me that they give you at a sushi place is literally just fucking soybeans and they're visible. I'm not gonna eat those.
Yeah.
So when I went to like the fucking, like the one good thing about going after the fucking earthquake and shit, there were no tourists. So it was all this crazy shit that normally you had to like fucking book months ahead or figure out how to get into, like going to this like fucking cupboard at like the seaside, like one of the fucking, fish fucking whatever the fuck places. It's like fucking a place where like, crazy people go to get like the fucking best sushi in Japan. Nobody was there. So you just get to walk right in and have the fucking crazy like fucking serving thing that the guy does. And he, puts on a fucking show for like fucking the Westerners and shit where he's like screaming and brandishing a knife and stuff. That was great fun. And I got to eat all the stuff because it's like, oh yeah, it's just a sea urchin, And so I tried some of my girlfriend's curry. An hour later, I'm in a Japanese hospital because I've had an allergic reaction to something in the fucking curry.
Oh no.
And like, it's just lots of little things. Like they are injecting me with like the two things that the hospitals will inject you with to make sure your heart doesn't just stop. I've never had like proper anaphylaxis, but like they do it anyway, just in case. So I'm going to be unconscious for 6 hours. So it's just like, all right, well, that's what I'm doing today. That's that. And then there's just all these little details like, like Australia is not like a fucking take your shoes off when you come into a place culture. So like one of my socks has had a big hole in it, my big toe would poke through. And so I take my shoes off and I'm in the hospital. And I've just got like to them this cartoon hobo sock, which is the funniest goddamn thing in the world. And these Japanese nurses and like even a doctor are like trying not to fucking laugh at my weird fucking. And I know and I know why they're laughing. And I'm aware of what's going on. And I'm just like, it's okay. You can laugh at my weird fucking, you know, cartoon bum fucking hobo sock that you can just pretend you're not desperately fucking trying to fucking laugh about over this. And so I didn't even really get to appreciate like the inside of a Japanese hospital because I'm just like fucking, you know, I was unconscious and I wake up a little while later and I message my girlfriend. I was like, hey, I'm awake. I suppose I can go. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll come get you. And that was the whole day. That was like, well, that was my birthday, 2011. That was mostly unconscious in a Japanese fucking, you know, hospital. And not even one of the fucking dozens of fun ways that could have happened, you know? Like, it's not like I got hit by a giant penis.
That would have been better.
That would have been fucking funny. It was just like, well, I did and the worst part is I was like, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't eat that thing that my girlfriend wants me to eat, but I'll fucking, you know,
yeah,
okay, I'll give it a try. That was the worst part was I fucking knew. Still did it anyway.
For me, there's only one thing I can think of because like I just don't remember many birthdays at all. But I had just opened a present and it was, I don't know if this was Christmas or birthday. I'm pretty sure it was a birthday because it wasn't hot. And, you know, Christmas is a hot time of year compared to the more autumnish winter of April. So it was a Spider-Man web slinger. And it was one of those things that you strapped on your wrist and it had a can
of silly string.
And it shot silly string. And the thing about this silly string was it came out like liquid, but as soon as it hit, it just goes, it's like cork, you know? It just expands and gets disgusting. My father was like, hey, can I have a go? That's a bad idea. So I give him the thing and I'm sitting across the table from him and he just sprays me in the face. It goes straight in my mouth, fills my mouth up and just goes, expand. And I'm gagging because it tastes like poison.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to ingest it.
No.
So, you know, he's laughing his ass off. I'm like crying.
I shouldn't laugh, but like,
no, you should laugh. It's very funny. It's very funny. Like this thing, I can look back on that and laugh as an adult because like I would have laughed being in his situation as well. Like it's just, you know, but it wasn't a very nice thing.
In the mouth.
Yeah. That's probably, that's all I've got.
All right, worst smell.
That's hard.
I mean, like, it probably wasn't the worst technically, but there have been situations where it's like, that's the worst thing I could smell in this situation.
Yeah.
You know, like I was walking into the fucking Woolworths in fucking Cooperoo the other day, and it just, I swear to Christ, like 4 dogs had just taken a shit somewhere, and it stank. And as I was walking in, I'm just like, wow, it smells really like dog shit. And I'm looking around, and there's like, I'm looking at the staff, and the staff are all looking at each other like, do we have to go looking for dog shit? Is that what's happened here? And like, it was distinctly at the entryway. So I don't know what the fuck happened. There's just, and like, I couldn't see anything. See anything obvious. It was profoundly unpleasant. Like, you know, that ripe fucking bass tone back of the nose dog shit smell. It was that. But it was invisible. And like, well, where the fuck would it be? Like, I could understand some moron walking in there with like a dog and then the dog takes a shit. But then the shit would be visible. Like, someone would be dealing with this already, you know? No one's walking in there with like a dog that then fucking, I don't know, climbs into the roof and this fucking takes a shit. And it's like, how is there mystery dog shit here? But it was fucked up. Like, to the point where, you know, you're going in and you're like, I'm going to go buy food. And your brain can't think of food when it's like fucking clogged up with the smell of fucking dog shit.
Right.
That was just fucking awful.
For me, it is the smell of mac and cheese being made.
That's fucking weird.
It will, specific. If I'm in the room with it, I will gag and start throwing up. Like it is, and it's to do with the smell of milk and dairy because if like milk makes me gag as it is, like normal milk, but like if you get off milk, oh Lord, that will hit me like you've punched me in the face and I'll start gagging and nearly throw up. I don't know why.
It reminds me of like when my mum would make liver pate and I just couldn't be in the house.
I get that, yeah.
It sucked. I fucking hated it. And yeah, you just be like, well, that The whole house is just going to stink now. Yeah. Guess I'm going to clean the yard. All right. And what was the last one? Or was that? That was it.
That was
yeah.
That was it.
I suppose, yeah, you could have a silly question of what's your most hated animal?
Oh, shit. Yeah, that one. Magpies, obviously. Because the one that attacked me.
You, yeah.
Like, birds in general. I don't like them because the noises they make, like not the squawking shit, but the noises they make when they clip near your ears. Yeah.
It's got that bully made you flinch quality to it.
Yeah.
It's not hitting you.
Yeah.
But it's fucking so close and it's done threateningly and it's very annoying.
Because like I don't want to hurt animals, like because I love animals, but if a motherfucker's swooping me, it just feels so bad because I can't do anything. I'm in his territory. I mean, he's just laying eggs. She's laying eggs. Whatever. I can't do shit.
I'll fuck a cunt up. I don't care. But like that's where I'm at with my fucking most hated animal, the noisy miners. I hate those fucking things. And they're jerks, so it's acceptable for me to fucking, loathe them. And I almost got one with my new water pistol the other day. Like I do feel like they've fucking developed a fucking sense for if I've got it around. Like it makes a noise when you're filling it and when you're charging it for the power shot. Like I got that sprayer water pistol. Or Spryer or whatever the fuck pronounce it. It's a fucking, electric water pistol that has a charge shot and will shoot a very powerful fucking blast of water. And like that's kind of what I've been missing is, something that's in that like fucking space that will hurt and annoy a bird enough, but like there's no way this can injure a third party. Like if I shoot my fucking slingshot and a little ball bearing that I've got goes hurtling off into space, that can cause trouble. That can break a window, that can fuck something up, and I don't want the fucking hassle of any of that potentially being traced back to me. So, but like the water blast, no stray victims there. So, the problem is like they'll come, they'll fucking scream, I'll see them like just chasing some random fucking bird, just screaming at it, pecking at it, and harassing it. It's just like, God help you if I get my fucking hands on you. Because right now I'm about to tear through them like Omni-Man does when like the humans are trying to stop him. It's just like, I could do that. I can't fly, regrettably, because this problem would be solved if I could. But God help
I think we'd have bigger problems on our hands if you could fly.
Yeah, I mean, you probably would, but like they'd have bigger problems.
Oh yeah,
100%. Like that'd be the current pressing concern would just be like the sudden drop off in the population of like native miners. Because like they say the invasive ones are a problem. The invasive ones don't harass everything else out of the fucking area. Like other things can live around the invasive ones. They're explicitly a better animal than the fucking local ones. And I hate the local ones. They're pricks, they're noisy, they're annoying. They don't eat bugs, like they eat nectar. So it's like you're not even doing the one thing that I might want you around to do. It's like fucking, anything else could be here that isn't a piece of shit. But the pieces of shit are here. So yeah, they're fucking on my goddamn list. All right, we've gotten our talk out of the way. We have to go look at the degenerate scratchings.
It's time to acknowledge some degens. Talking about my degeneration.
Yeah, we shouldn't make too much fun. This is this acknowledgement's probably the one thing.
I peed on my shoulder like a week and a half ago. Like I need to look at anyone else's life and feel as much pleasure that's not me as possible. Okay.
Dear Amber and Gabriel, this is titled Head Pants.
Jesus.
I was bullied in high school, but for a very mundane reason. I was the quiet kid with long hair, so I attracted the usual group of cunts, but it never pussed out and kept it long. The real story I want to tell is of a kid who did give in to bullying. I didn't know him or which year he was in, but I do remember him getting bullied for having very sticky, outy ears. A wingnut, as we'd call them in Australia. At some point, he was away from school for a couple of weeks. When he returned, it was obvious that he had surgery to pin his ears back.
Oh.
This required him to wear a head bandage, which looked exactly like a pair of white underpants. Oh. And so, of course, the bullying only intensified.
Oh, no.
All dreams fall down. Yeah, that is such a basic mistake. Like, if you'd come back after the ear thing was solved,
and
just be like, oh, yeah, puberty fixed my head. You'd be like, oh, okay, I don't have any argument for that. But if you come back with like your special ear-suppressing medical underwear, head underwear, what the fuck? That's negligent parenting. That's really negligent parenting. Greetings, Amber and Robin Hood, okay? Hope you are having a great day. Why am I Robin Hood? I don't understand this reference.
No.
Fucking, we have to get an audience that isn't special needs children that aren't being monitored.
Look, it's not going to happen, all right?
Shit.
Embrace.
I technically have acted in a school play as some vegetable thing in kindergarten. Excellent. Thing was, I didn't want to do it, as I saw it as just stupid to hear a bunch of 5- and 6-year-olds singing about nutrition in the fattest country in the world. So I came up with a clever plan, printing out a picture of my face and putting it in the cut-out face part of the vegetable I was supposed to be. I think it was potato. Anyway, my plan was to wait until my part came up, and then backstage, sent out with a stick and just shouted my part backstage. The teachers were less than pleased by my clever plan. Yeah, I mean, the goal would be to, like, just put the potato face there and run away. You know, I mean... You'd want to get it. You just say your throat's sore or something. My first kiss wasn't until I was 20, where after a fruitful date with a girl who I had just met the day before through a friend of ours, who she used to date, introduced us. All right, you got to learn sentences. After hitting it off, we meet the next day at the end in her car. The next day. At the end in her car, I summoned up the courage to ask her to my girlfriend. Was this written by Charlie from Always Sunny? I'm going to just read this as written. As written. Blocking my brain attempting to fix it. Ask her to be my girlfriend is what I'm assuming. She agreed, saying she was waiting for me to ask, which for me was the best thing ever. That's nice. Being the awkward idiot I was then, I asked if we could kiss, and after we did and leaving her car, I realized that was my first kiss and jumped and shouted, "Fuck yes." She surprisingly took it well and just laughed. Also, congratulations to Amber for the transition and thanks for the laughs. Best of luck in your future. Look forward to more.
Thank you.
That part was punctuated. What the fuck happened there? Some kind of reverse stroke in the middle of this? Hello, Amber and Gabe. Long time no speaky. One single person who stands out at school for being ripped on for physical appearance was a lad who had a small patch on the back of his head where his hair was bleach white. I've seen that.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
The arrangement made it look like a bird had shat on his head. That's unfortunate. And everyone called him Pigeon.
Oh, no.
In 2007, he came in one day with his head shaved and everyone started calling him Brittany. Oh,
that's mean.
That's parried your defensive option. He had BO too. Yeah.
Oh.
Last I heard of him, he shagged a girl who was passed out at a party, in case you think any of this is unjustified.
Jesus. All right.
I don't know if you can pre-bully someone for something they're gonna do unless you're a precog, but look, all right. I mean, I'd have just dyed the patch. Brittany's good, though. I do like... That's a solid, like... Because it would have been around that time, yeah. I've been in a couple of school plays. As I've said before, I was once young Scrooge, okay? And forgot my monologue as I stood up to recite it. After that, I had a couple of lines as Paul McCartney, okay? Both primary school productions, I would think mermaid sex is fairly straightforward to make an educated guess on. What was Paul McCartney in a fucking primary school production?
That's what I'm sitting here trying to rack my fucking brains.
It's got to be fucking, what's that animated movie?
Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, it'll be like fucking Yellow Submarine. Has to be that. I would think mermaid sex is fairly straightforward to make an educated guess on. The tail fin is a sidey side with up-down motion for propulsion, like dolphins. Not up-down with a sidey side motion like sharks. They also have tits. I would say mermaids are aquatic mammals like whales and dugongs. To figure out what mermaids are like down there, look no further than a dolphin's farm parts. I know you're not above researching the mechanics of dolphin fucking. I hope to see you soon. Thanks. Well, I know
what
about
makes you think I don't already know about dolphin fucking?
That's fine. It's naive of you to think we aren't already aware of that. I mean, dolphins are rapists, and I live in a beach country. You have to be aware of these facts.
You do. I do love informing my mother of the fact that dolphins are rape. She hates me telling her that because every time we go to the SeaWorld, I'm like, look, Mom. And she's like, no, stop it.
Dolphin rape.
And they'll bottlenose ram you with their snouts. They'll beat the shit out of you, rape you, and leave. They're the jerks of the ocean.
Oi, twistations. It's Tom, apparently, again. I have piercings and tattoos. Going back once again to Mexico, I got my first tattoo when I was 14 years old.
I remember this person, yes.
That's great. And visiting my brother's host families from when he was an exchange student. This happened on the same trip where I had my forehead artificially embiggened. Huh? I wanted the rune of torment from the CRPG Planescape Torment tattooed on my right shoulder. While the tattoo artist got on with my request, which we brought a picture of at this time as to not end up with me getting a tattoo of My Little Pony or whatever would be equivalently as awful as the aforementioned noggin migration. My entire family left me there with 3 Mexican guys with whom I couldn't communicate. Two tattoo artists and 1 other customer currently getting a full back tattoo.
Jeez.
I did my very best to sit completely still throughout the 2-hour-long session. To be fair, they probably thought you were badass by the end of that. Like, oh, look at this little 14-year-old fucking kid. Like, look at him just fucking...
like, I've got 2 tattoos. I can't imagine getting one at 14. That's fucked.
When my brother came back, the other customer had left, and the guy that tattooed me proceeded to tell my brother how much they had taken the piss of the other customer for having cried while being tattooed, while he was sat next to a 14-year-old who hadn't said a word while being tattooed himself. I have piercings in my earlobes, and I have made them myself. Took about 5 tries each, and both, at some point, had green pus running out of them. Well, substance I have been covered in. Man, this has got the potential to be wild. I was in a Mexican fucking brothel. My parents had left me there. The worst substance I've been covered in would have probably been sand. Okay, all right. We've taken a hard left turn.
Okay.
But more because of the things that transpired during.
Oh.
My brothers and I had made a game of burying each other in the sand up to the neck in a standing position. As you can imagine, being buried in such a way made it quite impossible for an 8-year-old version of me to break free without help. My youngest, older brother decided to take advantage of my indefensible position, and began threatening me with a strand of snotty drool, which he yo-yoed between his bastard rancid cake hole and my face. I kept screaming for him to help, or for him to stop, while wiggling harder than I have ever wiggled before or since. Once again, I find it needless to say, but of course he lost control of the mucus cable right into my exposed mouth. I honestly don't think anything else has ever happened to me that has quite grossed me out as much as involuntary choking back a 15-centimeter long string of my brother's boogers. I guess truly the worst substance went in me rather than on me. Yeah, that's a good one. The second was like, I was buried. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I pretty much know where this is going. I mean, that's rookie mistake on your part. Don't let brothers incapacitate you, because something's going to happen to you. Most interesting thing I saw at the dump. And once again, we go back to the same trip to Mexico. This was a very eventful trip.
Yeah.
But I scarcely mention every alternate second. We were helping my brother's girlfriend's family throw out some shit at the dump, and after smelling the telltale, sickly sweet scent of decaying fish, I noticed a leg sticking up out of the compost heap. Upon further inspection, this turned out to be a dead dog someone had disposed of. Best wishes, and keep it classy. Love from gang. That's just an interesting life in that soul there. There's one trip to Mexico and got a tattoo at fucking 14. Fucking. Hello again to our favorite Australian YouTubers. My wife and I have tattoos of each other's initials that we got on our first wedding anniversary. Hers is stylized to look like one of the seashells in her collection, specifically one called a spider conch, and mine looks like a metal plate with the initial stamped into it. Men. We are each planning on adding our daughter's initials to our tattoos sometime in the near future. We both also have many more ideas for tattoos we want, including the dark sign for me and various animal footprints for my wife. Worst substance I have had on me is chemical lime. Woo! When I was a kid, my parents decided to add a detached garage to our property. When the workmen were setting down the concrete floor, they added chemical lime to it to make it waterproof. They had a lot of leftover lime and water mixture that they poured out onto the ground. When I got home that day, I saw a nice big mud puddle that I wanted to play in. So I did. I played in it for well over an hour. Fortunately, the mixture was not as strong as it could have been, but the resulting chemical burns kept me crying through the entire night. And I still have deep tissue problems in my feet and calves to this day.
That sucks.
Yeah, the second was like, oh, chemical lime. My wife has been hatching and raising birds since before we met. With eggs comes rotten eggs. My wife found some eggs a duck had been sitting on for some time and immediately knew that they had died, but her mother insisted that my wife candle them. She reluctantly decided to humor her and put a flashlight to one of them. Rotten eggs produce gases that build up inside the shell and can cause them to explode violently. This is exactly what happened when the heat from the direct contact with the flashlight warmed the egg. Putrid yolk, necrotic bits of duck fetus, and an unholy soup of bacteria splattered directly into my wife's face and hair and into her open mouth. She screamed and ran to the shower, where she stayed under the scalding water for a very long time. That's a good one. That's a fucking good one. I wanted to add a thank you that you can read on air if you want. Okay. I have subscribed to many channels over the years, but Keep It Classy is the only one that I've consistently kept up with. You both have brought... You know, the funny thing here is, like, the fucking font size of the email just changes here. Weird. I don't know why. Yeah. It's like, you know... Our president has been replaced by the beloved general. Like, it really does look like that. Like, just have a look. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it just goes from, like, normal to just, like, you know, Keep It Classy is the only one that I have consistently kept up with. You both have brought so much joy to us with your banter and stories, and I am honestly excited every time I get an upload notification. Thank you so much for all the work you put into your videos and live streams, and we look forward to whatever plans you have in the future. Sincerely, General Kroll. That's amused me. From a Keep It Classy fan. Do you have any piercings or tattoos? No, I'm mildly interesting enough to not need a conversation piece on my body. I am an artist and I do have ideas, but nothing worth committing to. What's the worst substance you've been covered in? When I was 8, I wrote into one of those Nickelodeon sweepstakes. They responded to me with tickets to Universal Studios to be in the audience of Double Dare. Double Dare, for those who may not know, was an obstacle course competition show. We had it in Australia. My brother and I flew out to Orlando, Florida, and arrived on time for the show. While it was not an important part of the show, we found out that Nickelodeon used the live studio audience to capture stock footage for other shows. Our row of the audience got slimed. Everyone else seemed to find the sliming amusing, but the substance was sticky, smelly, and aside from giving us a free t-shirt, we had to continue sitting and smelling ourselves for the remainder of the show. By the time we got to the hotel, it had solidified into a thick mucus. Watching it out was an all-night process. That's fucking great. I love the idea that the slime was, like, legit hard. Postscript. Double Dare doesn't hold up. Go and watch Takeshi's Castle instead. Yeah, I agree. Ever found anything interesting at the dump? Yes, a child. Great. All right. I made one visit to the dump to help a mate get rid of some furniture. While we were offloading furniture in the corner of my vision, I heard a father sternly telling his child not to leave his sight. I stopped to really soak in the aftermath of the conversation. I couldn't place the kid's age, probably 7 or 8. I saw his fist clench as he looked left and right and then punched his father and ran towards the dumping pit while dirt was being poured into the landfill. He must have been planning of this because he pulled off a pretty impressive flying body slam motion. I don't think the kid realized that the black trash bags that filled the hole was a combination of some trash, but mostly discarded items of various hard and small shapes. Ooh. The kid screamed and the dirt poured on him, and everyone, ourselves included, ran in to get him. He was fine. Most kids his age could take that beating. Getting a better look at him, he didn't look to have any kind of mental ism. He looked kind of like the kid who just did things like this. Kind of like a young Bam Margera in the making. Definitely not Tokyo Shock Boy material. What counts as rubbish? I'm still a rule of threes guy. I will happily set up an appointment at the local wrestling ring if any of your fans want to try and force a fourth answer out of me. I have felt like this. Dear people trapped in my phone. Kaiba here. Have you ever gotten a tattoo or piercing? Nah, I feel like if I ever got one, I'd immediately get buyer's remorse, and I generally don't like tattoos anyway. 2. What's the weirdest thing you've been covered in? Slime! In 2003 or 4, a Nickelodeon event came to Melbourne. It might have been Slime Fest, where you got to meet the Australian Nickelodeon hosts and do a whole lot of activities, one of which was a giant slide that was covered in slime. I remember it more or less being a giant slip and slide. And of course, being Nickelodeon, another thing that they had was a slime chamber where you got to go in it. You get covered in slime. If I recall, they also had a PS2 area where you played PS2 SpongeBob games. I feel like, given some of the revelations we've found out about Nickelodeon, that we should check for just anybody who works at that thing that has a big hard-on for covering kids.
Oh, dude, it would not.
I get it, but it's also, it's just veering. It's like, yeah, someone's jacking off.
It really would not be good.
3. Best thing you found in a rubbish dump. Well, it wasn't a rubbish dump, but a hard rubbish / curbside collection. As I mentioned before, during COVID, I had a temp job of collecting hard rubbish and taking it to the dump in a massive compacting truck. Anyway, I found an Atari Lynx. Didn't work, but cool. I also found a whole heap of Chinese dubbed Baywatch VHS tapes. Keep up the good work. Yeah, like, I do. Like, the problem is like, it's too official a thing now. Lots of people go around and, like, collect shit. But, like, yeah, you do find some wild shit in the fucking curbside pickup. I do love the idea of Chinese dubbed fucking Baywatch episodes. That's fantastic. I'm honestly curious if that Atari Lynx could have been repaired. But then really, you've kind of just got an Atari Lynx. And it's not the worst handheld in the world by a fucking long shot, really. But
still.
Yeah, it's not like it really isn't very good. Like it was a bit too early. I mean, really, I put the fucking Game Gear over it. I mean, the Game Gear was a surprisingly good fucking console, actually. Like, it was effectively a shrunk down fucking Master System. You know, like had way more going for it than. I mean, the battery life was the fucking killer.
Yeah,
turns out
that was pretty much every handheld was battery life.
Yeah.
The fact that like the Game Boy and stuff came out with all those attachments and things and it was nutty.
I had those dumb things.
Oh yeah, same. Like I don't know why, but it is a primal human thing when you buy something to get attachments. I shit you not. Am I wrong? Like,
it depends on the thing, but yeah. No, I do understand the fucking, plug a thing into this.
Like
and
our camera. Like there are so many attachments that I'm going to want to get for this thing over time. And it's just like, why? Oh, because I can do this and this and this with it. And it's like, but you don't need it. Shut up.
I don't need it now because I'm unable to perform the functions without it. You see how that works? If I had it, then I'd
yeah.
need it. That's the way this fucking rolls.
But yeah, so many of them were just unnecessary trash. But
Oh, they were all, like, I struggle to think of one that was legitimately good. Like there may have been like a little booklight that comes over the top that you can like bend a bit and maybe get into a solid
those I think
position.
were good. I had one.
Yeah.
It was a little purple cable. It plugged into the side, and it was a spiral cable, and you could just adjust it.
Yeah, that
and
I feel like
that
could
was
have
fine.
probably been fucking useful. The things where it's got a magnifying screen, all that shit was trash.
Rechargeable battery packs were pretty good
That is another thing that has practical utility.
because you take the panel off, and it would replace that panel.
Yeah, the whole thing would fit into
and you just charge it, or you can play it while it's charging.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
All right. So this has been Smelly Feet. Remember, if you want to email us answers to the questions, it is ihavefeltlikethis@yahoo.com, all lowercase, all one big long dumb word. And our questions this week are, fucking the little word app would hurry up and load. There we are. What was your best birthday? What was your worst birthday? What's the worst thing you've ever smelled? What's your most hated animal if you've got an extra few minutes? Remember, have you ever felt like this? I have felt like this at yahoo.com. And feel free to go on at us at length about the sad, embarrassing things that happened to you in Mexico.
Because we need that in our lives. My body's shutting down and failing, so I need all the picking up that I can have.
An egg full of rotted fetuses is just exploding in someone's face is good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's pepped me right up because that's never happened to me.
No,
and I don't plan for that to happen to me.
I doubt
I don't go
near
duck eggs, so
I don't go near eggs that aren't like already in the supermarket.
Eggs make me sick, so I don't go near them at all.
I'd be surprised if I wound up with one of those girls that like has one of those weird cottage hobbies.
Oh, cottagecore chicks. Yeah, they're interesting.
I'm okay.
I found a lot of lesbians.
I'm okay with all the knitting.
Core.
Yeah, that's entirely unsurprising. I'm okay with all the arts and crafts parts of it. Anything to do with like barnyard shit is a concern. Because I don't want I don't want any of my day to involve exploded fetus tissue.
God no. I don't want to milk a cow. I don't want to do anything
farms are
involving
gross.
a farm.
Part of the industrialization has been to separate me from the gross parts of the fucking farm.
You know what happens in the morning, Gabriel? I get up and I take a shit in a toilet in a house. I eat some breakfast and then I watch TV. I don't go, well, time to go milk Bessie, and then walk through a barn covered in straw and feces that smells like straw and feces.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't have to see like fucking weird, the kinds of infections and shit that animals get.
The fucking outside, I power washed 2 days ago. Power washed the house and the driveway and my car. And, that's my outside. My outside involves water and cleaning.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Not bombs made of fucking duck fetus.
I wonder if milking a cow would make me sick. Because milk makes me sick, so
it would absolutely make you sick. Because too.
Oh,
yeah. I could probably learn to cope if the world collapsed. I don't think you'd be okay with it. All right, I'm fucking Gabriel Twist.
I'm the spirit of Olivia Newton-John.
I believe you.
Ooh.